Alright, so I'm going to be working on some hair today for the next hour or so and kind of see where we can get. And then I've been working on this for a day or two now. So once this is complete, this will be going up as one of the main videos as a normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday release. So I'm going to be working on this. Just kind of messing with getting some really clean forms and shapes in here. Right now it's getting there, but it's still pretty messy. So we're gonna play around with that a little bit. I'm just gonna hide a bunch of this stuff for now, so we can kind of focus on what we need to work on. And then, after I'm done with the hair, I'm gonna come back and work on the body some more. The hands, definitely. These are pretty much just placeholders from another mesh that I quickly changed a little bit, but not very much. So we'll come back to most of this stuff here. So for now, focusing on this hair, I want to kind of get more of a simplification going on. I'm not sure if I'm going to dynamesh these together or if I need to just kind of get it into a larger mass. We'll see what happens. I'm not super happy with it at this time, so I'm going to play around with it for a little bit and see where we get. Also, I'm going to be repeating myself a lot because I'm talking to myself, and there's no friends here yet. So right now, if you're looking at this, these kind of shapes, I literally just took a pinch brush, turned on my lazy mouse, and if you look at the topology here, it's really bad, and that's because, just blocking stuff out, trying to get those quick shapes. Still, you can get a pretty clean transition, but you're also going to get really terrible geometry. So if you want, you can re-topo over this and get really nice clean edges. But for me, that's just not necessary, especially at this stage. I'll be able to clean it up more so than it is right now later. So I'm not too worried about it. And actually, while I'm talking here, I'm going to mess with my mic a little bit. There we go. My mic has a little setting on it where I can kind of make it pick up my voice and replay it back to me so I can kind of hear myself talk. And because I have closed headphones, it's kind of weird talking and not being able to hear what you're saying. It's a little disconcerting. And of course, I'm going to see little things that pop out and bother me that I'll want to adjust as I go. So we'll take care of some of that stuff as well. So let's go ahead and just hide this bod for a minute. All this junk. Yeah, we'll go ahead and hide the whole body as well, just so we can kind of see more what this hair is doing. And before I forget, let's not forget to set our threads down a little bit so that if we dynamesh, I don't lose you guys. Alright, so I haven't really taken a look at this quite yet, so let's go ahead and work on getting another piece in here. So a lot of people like to work with dynamesh or subdivision levels, kind of pick and choose between one or the other. At least in my workflow, I'm able to use both. So it depends kind of on what the piece is, but think my tablet's a little wonky right now. There we go. But yeah, with my workflow, I'm able to use both, just depending on my needs for that piece. So something like this hair, I'm going to use subdivision levels, or I might use Dynamesh at first, but I will in the end probably have some subdivision levels that I can mess with. And you'll see here that I believe oh nope, that has subdivision levels as well. Some pieces might have or might be Dynameshed. It's a little hard to say. Depends on what I was trying to accomplish a lot of the time. So let's kind of pull this and try and get it to flow down through here. And you can go up more. And that's honestly going to be close enough. You don't need it to be perfect for... What do we got here? What do we got hiding? Oh, that piece. Let's move this in a little bit. So you don't need it to be perfect when you're just starting out. It's important to kind of think of it as your blocking in stage while you're working. And if you notice here, I only have 1 million pieces. Not 1 million, but I have a lot of pieces. Probably like 20, 30 around there. Starts to get tough to kind of manage. There's a tool that you can get called Z Scene Manager. I do not have the paid version. I have the free. I believe the free version allows up to, let me go ahead and open it, up to 25, let's say 25 subtools. So if you look here, that's probably like the 15 or 25 hard limit. And then all the rest of this, it's not going to let me use this with. But you can group stuff, you can hide and apply poly paint and all sorts of awesome stuff through here. Look, you can select multiple subtools. How cool is that? But yeah, the paid version allows you to use as many subtools as you want. I like kind of, I mean, I've grown accustomed to this palette, as unfortunate as that is to say. I would love it if the tool was kind of like more built into your subtool palette, your subtool window, or if it maybe worked more kind of natively inside of ZBrush so it didn't have to be a pop-up window. That would be pretty awesome. But until then, I'm just gonna stick with using this guy. It gets confusing sometimes, but it's definitely not the end of the world. So again, just kind of messing with this hair a bit, trying to get a nice flow going. Kind of look at it from all angles, from your front side, whatever you're working on. I want there to be like a mane kind of shape going, which is kind of lacking right now. A mane kind of, a larger kind of S curve. And it's kind of hard to tell without the body on, and you can kind of see it more from these side views. And of course I have the body hidden, so that also makes it difficult. But let's just keep trucking here. And I have some excess geometry in here that I would like to delete. Awesome. Oh, one more. Bam. We won't mention that. Okay, so another cool thing you could do is you can take your ZModeler brush and, well, to prevent it from screwing up your mesh, I'm just going to delete my caps off of this piece, this tube, this hair piece. And from there, I'm going to crease, edge loop, bam, crease that edge. And look at that, you got like a nice little hard edge flowing all the way down your hair. And of course from here you can close holes, and you got a cap on the top and bottom again. Or you could like manually do that if you want some more clean geometry. But instead, let's put that crease right there. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. Let's see. Let's try and get one right here. And that flows up nicely through there. So yeah, you can get a lot of some cool, interesting shapes this way. And let's go ahead and get one more here, just to make sure we're not too close to the others. Alright, that'll be good for our purposes. Grabbing our move brush. So I haven't really talked much about what this whole streaming thing is going to be. So I guess I could do that now while I'm working on some stuff. Some mindless idle chatter. So essentially, I think Austin and I kind of touched on it in our last test streams, what we were calling them, our top secret test streams. But this is essentially going to exist as a method to kind of give people an opportunity to get in here and see how this stuff works in real time. Kind of a back entrance kind of view into what's going on behind the scenes over here. So, you know, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I'm always going to upload those videos. That's not going to change anytime soon. New characters, sometimes two-parters, which aren't very fun. You know, you always want to see the most amount of content you can. Sometimes the videos are just too long, or sometimes I am just like overwhelmed with stuff, so I need to occasionally break them up into two parts. But those videos will always be there. That's not going to change, as I said. But the streaming is just kind of a new outlet to, you know, help people learn, grow, ask questions, and get immediate feedback. So previously, you know, someone would either have to post a question in the comments and wait 24 hours or however long for me to respond. But now, through the magic of live streaming, you can get all your wildest questions answered right away. And you can also request characters this way, a lot easier. Whatever your little heart desires. Speaking of little hearts desiring, this Friday is going to be a super funny, awesome video. I'm super excited about it. I roped in background guy, aka Austin, my roommate, to essentially join me in a video. He is streaming, or not streaming, he is sculpting for the very first time, and hilarity ensues from there. So that'll be a good time. I'm pretty excited. I finished the edit last week, and you know, I try to stay a little bit ahead on some of the stuff here, so I'm a little bit ahead. I'm about like a week ahead in content, so just in case something were to happen, I have kind of a backlog, just to say, you know, if I, you know, who knows, but that content is there. Set to upload already. It's scheduled for this Friday. Tomorrow is going to be a Banjo-Kazooie sculpt. I'm pretty excited about that one. That was a lot of fun. Kind of more of a ranty video where I'm just talking about kind of my thoughts on learning and education and all that jazz. You'll see that tomorrow, so I won't say too much about it. And then Friday will be the best vid of your life. And by the best vid, I mean you'll watch it for 2 minutes, chuckle, and then turn it off. It's gonna be great. You'll love it. So, let's sharpen this guy up. What do we got here? So here's a good example of probably when I would use that method that I just showed you to kind of get those harder edges, just because it's a smaller, it's such a thin piece that it's going to be hard to use a pinch brush on it and have it actually do what I want. If I were to use a pinch brush on such a thin piece, I would have to get so close to my mesh, it would be annoying. I don't want to do that. Uh-oh. Come on. These tablet drivers. So let me show you, let me subdivide this a couple times. And grab my pinch brush. And if I make a stroke down here, as I'm getting closer to the end, you're kind of seeing like, oh, that curve doesn't look that bad. But we're starting to get some weird pinches on the opposite sides because that's just as far as the brush can go. So if I want to avoid similar stuff, I have to get closer, stroke lighter, change my brush size, and this is just like a lot of, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So let's inflate this guy. Deformation, inflate, just a little bit. And crease some edges. So I'm just hovering over an edge with the Z modeler brush, spacebar, crease, edge loop, complete. And the reason it's not going all the way around is because I deleted those caps. And I like the way that that butts up against there and blends in. That's always nice. It's always a nice touch. Okay. Apologies for any gross sounds my mouth makes while I'm drinking water. I literally drink like maybe 2 gallons of water a day. I have my, let's see here. Let's show my face for like only a split second. So I have my little Contigo here. Absolutely product placement. I am sponsored by the Contigo. No, I am not. I'm not sponsored by anyone. This thing is beat to hell and back, and I love it. And I drink from it every single day. I never wash it. Delicious water all day long. Fresh spring faucet water. It's great. Okay, so back to this hair. We got some creases going on. From here we can go ahead and close holes, put some caps on there. You're gonna see, again, you're gonna get like this weird artifacting geometry. You can always manually do this and try and get a point back there, just a center point, kind of like it does on a normal tube. This is remeshed to hell, so that's a terrible example, but this one, there you go. So this one did a pretty good job. It got close. It's got an extra try over here. It could have just been a quad, or just like a split right there to make that 2 tries, which is a quad. But anyway, if you want to manually mess with that, you can. There's some other methods for that, but again, not really worth at least my time for this. This isn't going in a game or anything like that. So this is all just personal work in ZBrush. This is a little thick. So because this is so low poly, a couple things you could do. You could subdivide it a couple times, smooth it out very lightly, which is like my lazy way of doing this. That's why I like to do it. It's lazy and quick. And then step back down and delete those because you don't want those subdivision levels. And now when you turn back on your dynamic, oh, it's smaller. You could have, or I could have also just lowered down my Z intensity and smoothed, not quite as strong, but again, changing that down, I have to change it back up, and oh man, we're just creating extra work for ourselves at that point. So yeah, I figure that got disconnected there for a second. Not sure why. Need to figure that out. But anyway, it's talking about streaming in the morning. So we used to stream at night a lot of the time, and I and he and I will most likely get back into that. But this is kind of going to be something that I'm going to try to do a lot more often here, just so I can give people more opportunities to get in, ask questions, and figure this whole thing out. I mean, I've talked about it in previous videos, how it's just like, there's just so much. There really is just so much, and it's like, where do I even begin? I have no idea what this sorcery is, this black magic of a program. The fun is when you learn the program very well, and you know how to do most of the stuff, and then the real fun starts. You have to learn how to sculpt. Some people come in and they're already traditional sculptors, and they want to get into digital sculpting, and their main boundary or their main wall kind of in their way is just learning how to use the software. And that's an awesome wall to have, because once you learn the software, it's really not that hard. Just go watch some of my tutorials, watch some of the Z Classroom videos. I would recommend that you watch all of them actually. Get up to snuff, get up to speed, and then get to work, start practicing, get as much done as you can. So I was using a move brush with a back face masking. I think I've talked about this technique before, but if you take a look at this, it's essentially only moving the faces that are non-back facing, the direction that I am pushing that. So of course if I pull down, it only takes everything from here down and moves it. Everything that is not facing the direction that I am pulling or pushing or doing whatever, it will not affect. So I use that literally all the time. I would recommend that you throw it up on your quick menu somewhere, or get a little pop-up window like this. If you don't know how to make one of these, there's a lot of great tutorials online. I just literally have most used right here. Up here, Ben's menu. You can essentially set a hotkey to open one of these menus, or palettes, as I think they are actually called. And then just from there you press that hotkey, whatever you have assigned, and it opens it up. I plan on actually giving away, I think I say actually way too often. I plan on actually giving away my user interface here shortly, just as a zip file on my Gumroad. So if you look down in the description, there should be, if there is not already, I will throw it down there, a link to my Gumroad where you can download any of this junk that I'm making for free. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. You can download any of this stuff for free, And then like I said, I plan on throwing my UI up there. So if you're watching this and you like all this stuff that's going on here that you see me using, or just kind of the setup, or if you're trying to follow along with a with a video that I've made and you see me do something and you don't know where that is in your user interface but you know where it is in mine, maybe that can help you out as well. So I'll give that away, plus kind of all the hotkeys that I use so that you can do stuff like this. I also have, forgot to delete some caps. Forgot to bust some caps. Alright. Real quick here, just get rid of these. So I just pretty much on every piece, I'm not sure if you can turn this on by default, like on everything. To my knowledge, you cannot, but I like to keep it on pretty much all the time unless there's like a flipped normals kind of thing that I'm messing with, just so that I can see the inside of stuff. But it's just down here in display properties, double, so you can see the opposite side of the normal. And if you don't know what a normal is, it's so I'm hovering my cursor over this polygon, see that red line kind of pointing out. It's not pointing out, it's following that edge, but if I tap on it, that is the normal of that polygon, the direction outwards that polygon is facing. So the opposite of that would of course be the inside, and double it renders the inside of that essentially. And then of course you have flip, so if you want to flip your normals, which is something you can do to kind of, it's good for if you're trying to figure out how to mold something or work with stuff. It gets a little confusing if you don't know what the heck's going on and you're like, you accidentally press this. You can get really confused really quick. But anyway. Sharing all them ZBrush secrets today. Last stream, I just got distracted. You know, we talked about all sorts of things. But this time, we're going hard in the polys. So, also, don't feel bad if you miss any streams. You can always re-watch them. I'll throw a link down in the description to a playlist where all the archived streams will be. So if you miss one, or there was one that's like a Q&A session, or I guess they're all kind of Q&A sessions, but if there's something that you miss and you want to be able to still watch that, I want you to have the ability to do that. So let's insert a polyloop. Polyloop, polyloop. Insert polyloop, and for your target, pretty much always polyloop unless there's a reason not to. Honestly, it should be the default option. And from here, and sorry if I go into long stints of silence. I literally cannot say something interesting or educative 24/7, so hopefully just watching me work is at least a tiny bit interesting. I know I'm literally just pushing around polys and verts. I'm a poly pusher, so I'm not doing anything that's too interesting. But hopefully you kind of understand that I'm trying to at least somewhat concentrate. It's not easy to talk and do this at the same time. So I apologize. I apologize for being boring. we got some weird kind of relationship going on between these two parts. I'm not sure if I'm liking that or not. This body's needs to go. The body and boobles need to go. Sorry guys. I know that's why you came, but I can't see. Yeah, so I think we can make that work. Kind of butt these up against each other and maybe merge these meshes together through Dynamesh and kind of emphasize that cut even a bit more. I think that would be pretty interesting. The objective here is to get all these shapes to blend together and form a larger, what am I trying to say? A larger shape. Come on. There we go. So you kind of want this complexity going on, or at least I do. But at the end of it all, I want it to be simple. So beginning from complex, maybe like 30 strands of hair, 30 tubes of hair that all blend to form a single kind of larger mass that kind of all works together. So for that, it takes a bit of brain power, which unfortunately I don't have a lot of that going on. So we'll have to figure this out through patience, a lot of time, and luck. Okay. Yeah, I kinda like this. I kinda want to change that shape though. So let's keep that as a good base. Delete hidden. Go back here, and yeah, I think I just don't like this curve. If I can poof it, again coming down to inflate. So the front of this still needs quite a bit of work. I kind of need to figure out how to blend this a bit better. Not just a bit better. As well as just getting all these shapes to work together. It's a lot going on, but what's kind of nice about this kind of thing, at least from my experience, is the more you have, and this is not a blanket statement, but the more you have going on, the kind of better it's going to end up looking in the end. It kind of creates I wouldn't say a needless complexity, but it creates a complexity that can be interesting in itself. Dude, how about these free tunes? They're great. No copyright free. You can't sue me. You can't sue me for this music. You could sue me and say that you're sculpting a mermaid, and that's all mermaids are property of Disney. Well-known fact. If you didn't know that, come on, brush up on your copyright law. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, I can do whatever I want here. This is my house. One second here. So again, trying to create some interesting forms here while keeping it all within the larger mass. So it's talking about kind of complexity and how you can use that to your advantage, but it can also, if used incorrectly, get out of hand very quickly. So you keep seeing these little, I'm not sure if you guys can see them on stream, but I'll get these weird little boxes of text under my cursor that'll say whatever key I'm holding. And then that's how I know my drivers have stopped working on my tablet. And it's kind of been happening a little bit more frequently ever since I updated my drivers just a couple days ago. I don't know if you guys have any Wacom products, but they're some of the best, but you know, even with that, oh look, I even have an update right now. So I'm on 632-5. What possible change could they have made from 6325 to 63207? That's so apparently they effed up. They're like, because that driver update I think was pushed like 2 days ago, so maybe that's why my drivers are being a little funky, keep going off the line, as they call it. So I'll update that here in a minute. Okay. Let's see. Turn everything back on for a sec. Okay. So it's starting to develop, it's starting to get more volume at this point, which is a good thing. And then there's this, I really like this piece, this twist that's happening through here. And I think I want to get another larger piece like that. Nice large twist. And from there, you know, I just realized that the thumbnail for this video doesn't show what I'm working on. So I wonder if I can like just click change thumbnail. Is it gonna ask for an upload file? So rude. That sounds like a lot of work. We'll change that. We'll change that later. Sounds like a hassle. Okay, so like I said, one larger piece that's kind of wrapping around. I'm not sure if I want, you know what, I do. I want that to go the opposite direction and create some kind of dichotomy there. So let's try that. Let's do that thing that I just said. So again, we're good to hide a bunch of stubs. And mess with that. Don't forget the hands. Okay. Let's start with this main piece. Duplicate that. Destroy its subdivision levels because we don't need them. And grab our curved tube snap brush. And from here, I am going to pull it up and around here and wrap it all the way around. So this can be a little tricky. So just make sure you have your there it is again. There's that stupid square of text. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's how I know my drivers have stopped working on my tablet and it's being annoying. So I just kind of have to do some weird clicking. It's confusing. Anyway, bend snaps on. Okay, so we should be good. So let me pull this down. using a curve brush can be a little frustrating and confusing if you've never done it before. But there's just like a lot of that ZBrush black magic kind of UI functionality going on, and it's not super intuitive. It is after you've been doing it for a while. Oh god. Obviously even I struggle and get annoyed by it occasionally, but that's not a problem because I know how to fix this kind of stuff. And I could have just kept the curve tube going and trying to fix it that way, but I would much rather just say, yeah, this is close enough to what I need, and from there I can mold it to be exactly what I want. So mess with this. And grab our inflate brush, build that up a tiny bit. We're starting to get some weird twist here, which is fine. I'm not sure if we're even gonna need all this. So let's just go ahead and delete that, and we can taper this piece down instead. So I'm just using my scale brush here. And actually, well, no, we won't do that. That'll be fine. And we'll delete the cap up here. Got a mean twist going on, so I'm not sure if that's gonna help or hurt us. We'll see what happens when we crease some edges. But I like the idea of these two forms kind of dipping in and out of each other. So it kind of goes over top here, and this one will go over top up there. So we'll have a little bit of interest in that respect. Sweet. Alright, pull this out. Might be a little too much, so luckily we still have some subdivision levels, and we can push that in. And we got a little bit of some weird stuff going on here. So I'm just trying to fix what I just did. Well, that didn't take too long though. Alright. And then pulling that back over top and going up into the head here. Let's turn our body on. We want to make sure that, yeah, we want to be able to see this a little bit. Cool. And try to blend it in with these shapes as well. This is a little unnecessary. Let's try and hide that. Cool. Getting there. Hello again, Arashi. Yes, you missed it all. Everything's done. It's over. We're here. No, I've just, let me go ahead and show you what we have been working on since you were here last time. last time I was working on a different character actually than this. I've been working on this for a couple days now. Essentially what you're looking at, the progress that I've made is mainly just to the hair. So everything else was complete, but I've just been adding some complexity and some new forms and shapes around the hair. So trying to get some visual interest here, and we can close that as well. But yeah, that's what we got going on. So I'm messing with this hair a little bit more, trying to get more of a new larger piece in here. Mess with this. I think it's got a, I think this was a good idea, a good win for us. We can add a few more strokes in here, and then I think we can move on to something else. Are these streams uploaded later as VOD, video on demand? Well, yes, in fact they are. If you look down in the description, there is a little link that says live stream archive. You can go and check out that, as well as any of the main channel videos that I upload on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And those will feature content from here. This is kind of a new thing that we're trying out. And then it will also just feature speed sculpts, tutorials, and a bunch of other content that I'm working on all at the same time. So let's crease these edges. That's why we deleted these caps. Let's crease this edge loop right through there. And we got a lot of twist going on, which kind of works out in our favor. This has a weird kind of warbly S shape. Let's clean it up. Get something that looks a little bit nicer. There we go. Look at that. Now that's a curve. And this is shaped oddly from this side. I am not worth times hashtag I am not worth x3. Where the I'm not sure what that's from. You're not worthy of what? But oh gosh. This is like the one thing, not the one thing. Like 2D's got it made, right? You just make it look good from one angle, and then you can cheat and draw it again from a different angle and like cheat stuff. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're probably not a 2D artist or a 3D artist. But you give that 2D concept to a 3D artist and they're like, shit dude, this literally can't happen. This thing that you're trying to do, it's physically, you can't make this. It will not work. You have it working from this front angle where this, like, okay, here's a perfect example. I was just sculpting Jasmine from Aladdin in yesterday's stream. And look here, Jasmine, Aladdin with 2Ds. Jasmine is always shown from the front. Like, you never see the back of her head. And the problem with that is I was sculpting her hair, and I'm like looking at this hair, and she's got like this headband and like the what, like, I'm trying to figure out like what's going on with this shape. And I won't show you the finished sculpt right now because the video will be going up next week and I'm not finished editing that video. But it's just like, what's going on here? I don't know how this works. And oh god, what the hell? And the problem is that you know, she's only drawn from the front or the side at the most, you rarely see the back of her head, and when you do, they kind of cheat it a little bit and make her hairband just like tuck into her hair, and then her hair blends on top, and then the hairband just disappears. So it's annoying. It's difficult. You know, you get all this great reference, but it just doesn't work from multiple angles. It does not work in reality in 3D space. And that's like the job of a 3D artist, to make it work. To make it work in 3D space. French KB, your teachings. That's a joke from Wayne's World. I have a BA in film animation. A BA in film animation. So you're a badass in film animation. I dig it. In Wayne's World, I haven't seen Wayne's World in probably since it came out. Probably the best film ever made, right next to Freddy Got Fingered. So let's mess with this a little bit more, since I got distracted by rambling on about Jasmine and her stupid hair. So just a few. That's fine. Let's get rid of that one. Try this. Yeah, there's just like so much twist going on here that it's not good. Not good, guy. So think of it as, if you don't know like what good shape language is, you're gonna have a bad time. But I'm like looking at this, and if I undo, like I think even anyone who's not artistically inclined at all or studied any of this stuff or practiced it would see this and say like, that's a clean S-curve shape, and then it just kind of has this line here. So let's like make this angle a little bit more interesting, so we got this nice kind of flow going on. And of course we have all this BS we gotta fix over here, and a lot of that's not visible, which is good. Whoops. And then from this angle you can kind of see the S-curve kind of happening this way. And that's kind of a nice kind of shape, and of course from the other side and the back is going to be the same. Maybe shadows will play a little bit differently, but other than that, I just need to move some edges around a tiny bit. So Arashi, what brings you, oh wait, let's see, it's how to can recognize characters, objects without seeing the details. How to recognize characters, objects without seeing the details. Are you talking about your artistic eye? Your third eye? Let's remember, let's close holes real quick. Now if you remember, I did the subdivide kind of smooth technique to sharpen that a bit. We'll do that again here. I almost completely like what we got going on here. We'll adjust it, pull it down a bit. Maybe we can get a nice tunnel tube of hair flowing through there as well. to kind of have coming out here, so flowing down through there. This is it, guys. You're getting it. You're getting raw Ben brain, raw Folly Senpai brain, all right here. I keep having to sneeze, and I am like fighting it to the death. Like, I will not sneeze in my microphone. I will not do it. When I learned ZBrush, the Z modeler brush wasn't in there. Yes, same for me. I love the Z modeler brush. But yes, I am always learning ZBrush, so I guess it kind of was in there when I was learning ZBrush, since I at least I personally always consider myself a student, always trying to learn new things and new techniques that other people are doing. Like my process is probably pretty different than, I would say, a lot of people's. Honestly, my process is pretty different than my process was yesterday. I try to honestly do something new almost every time I sculpt, to try different techniques, try to learn from those. And why can't I move this? So I try to do oh, back face masking, you little bee, of course. So I try to do new things a lot, just so that I can kind of see how it works. Like take a look at this hair tube. I'm chopping off the caps, the point caps, and doing a crease edge loop all throughout there. So that is giving me a nice sharp curve all the way down through my object. Whereas if you look at this piece, done just the other day, well, look at that, it's Dynameshed and Z-Meshed and then pinch brushed, and that's mainly because it's a larger shape and I'm not going to be able to like easily replicate this, and it like blends into the top of her hair. So it's done in a different method as compared to this curve here or this curve, and this one's a little bit more similar to this one. So lots of different techniques, a lot of different methods. I am not trying to do there's no, like, at least in my head, there's no like one best technique, one best method. I try to cheat as much as possible and find the quickest way to do everything that I do. And the best way for me to do that is to try as many new techniques and kind of avenues to explore every time I sculpt. So I made a how to sculpt a stylized female face tutorial. That's like one way to do all those things that I explained in there, and that's not necessarily how I do it every time. I just sculpted lips the other day, and I did it in a completely new way than I have ever done it before, and it ended up being faster in some aspects than old techniques and slower in other ways. So maybe using a hybrid of that in the future is going to be a lot better for me. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to explore and learn and grow in every day. Pop open that ZBrush and get to work. So, sorry, I was mute button. It was put in the new version, R7. You learned R6. You started modeling in Maya in 2003. I started... The first time I 3D modeled was in Maya and Blender. I had Maya at school and Blender at home, just kind of like playing around with it. And don't remember exactly the first thing I modeled. I was mainly interested in like physics sims back then in Maya, and trying to do some cool stuff like that. And then I was really interested in animation for a minute, and then I decided that animation was not my cup of tea. So I went over to 3D modeling, tried that out, and here I am today, modeling things in 3D. There's a lot more to that story, but that's the gist. I'll do a sculpt my life video here in the future. That would actually be kind of cool. Except it would be extremely slow, and it would be like 40 hours long, me like doing this kind of stuff. Alright, let's get that other tube in, what I was talking about. So fun fact, what I'm doing here when I'm like inserting these new things, these new tubes, I'm placing it over top of old geometry, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm duplicating it and then using that old geometry as a base to like draw my curve on, which is pretty much how I do most of my stuff. For adding like new geometry or appending anything. Sometimes I append and grab something from this menu if I need a primitive, but other than that, this is like my technique. So if you're doing that, if you're, let me delete this real quick. So like say I want to use this piece right here, as my base to draw this curve on, which I do, I would duplicate that, come down here and grab the one underneath, because if you look here, this has subdivision history, or undo history, not subdivision history, undo history. This one on the bottom that was duplicated, so when you duplicate, like, it creates two. The one on the bottom is always the one that does not have your subdivision history. And then you saw me do something else, and I'll explain that here. If I try to draw a curve, it's going to say the mesh is composed of multiple subdivision levels. So you can delete those or freeze them. I'm just going to delete them because I don't need them, and I don't even need this piece. So we'll just like that, right on top. You know, saying I want that to kind of flow off to the side, which it does, but if I do that, it's going to like fly back into outer space, and I do not want that. So my mesh was a little twisted there, so by me just like dragging it just ever so slightly, I was able to straighten that out. And I probably should have done that for this last big piece that I threw around there, but it was kind of getting annoying to work with. You went to an animation school that was all pen and paper. That's pretty cool. It sounds like a good time. You must be a very well fundamentally practiced animator. At least I would think so. That'd be a really cool way to learn. I do not draw pretty much ever. I look at it as I will put in, I'm liking this, I will put in more work. Why put in more work into that when I instead can put more work into this other thing that is my career and my kind of my main shtick, source of income and everything else, and gain skills there and have that all kind of bleed over into those other artistic skills, which it definitely does and has. Alright. Make this curve even larger. I used to do a lot of stuff with 3D printing where it had to be moldable and castable. So a lot of like my habits and design kind of language almost come from that, where like I see holes and I'm like, no, I need to close those. I can't let there be holes. You would get some resin or whatever you're casting trapped in there, so you can't have that. So that's like that's like a habit of mine, but it creates good forms and designs. I keep everything as clean, and that's not true. I keep everything as clean as I can. That's super not true. I try to keep things clean. I'm getting lost in my tangled mess of hair. No one uses pen paper anymore, so no jobs. Oh man. Well, you said you're a Maya boy, right? You like that Maya, and you also, I believe, said game dev, if I'm not mistaken. So there you go. That's got all you need. I have made games before. Does that mean that I am a game dev? It's not my professional title, I would say. So I like this. I want to bring that in a little bit. We're just gonna keep messing with this a little bit until we get to a place where we can look at it and smile. Maybe we'll turn the boobs back on. That'll probably help some people look at it and smile. How does one fix this? How to get weird artifacts in your geometry. A personal memoir by Follygon. Alright. It's a lot better. So that shape isn't quite so cray. You have one game under your belt. Nice. Yeah, you should talk to my good old background guy next time he's on. He's I think we were talking, he said he'd had over 20? Yeah, I think when he was a lot younger he used to make a lot of stuff in Game Maker. And when I met him, he was making stuff in Game Maker, but then he got into Unity and he's been doing a bunch of stuff in there. I think I linked to his itch.io page if in the last stream. I'm sure we did. But if you want to check out some of his stuff, you can go to austinh1.itch.io, spelled exactly like it sounds. It's got some sweet games. Go check out G-Pong, Gravity Pong, or Baby Godzilla. Yeah, he had this crazy idea to do like a game a week or a game every 2 weeks, where it would just be like this very simplified concept, and it would most likely be pretty silly and funny. And then essentially the idea was that myself and one other person would play these games as a kind of a audiovisual podcast type of thing on YouTube. Which sounds like fun, but it sounds like a lot of work on his part, making all these games. But if they were like, we had one idea where it was like I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. We'll see if it actually happens. Loading ZBrush. Loading up that brush. Are you on? We were 57. Not sure what you mean by that. Being 57. You're 57 years old. Just now getting into Unity. Or ZBrush. You missed it. You missed your window. It's over. No, that's not true. Learning has no age limit. If I close holes on this, I don't really like that. Let's just get rid of that. Oh, I'm stupid. It's like, why are we getting these weird artifacts? 'Cause I'm a dingus. Had some subdivisions on there. $57 on a game. I assume you mean 57 people then. Working 3 months full time. Sounds like a good time. I definitely love me some video games, but really, there's no good games out there anymore. Not many. It's all oversaturation and a bunch of garbage. That's why me and my roommate just play Melee, Smash Melee, every night. He used to be really into Rocket League though too. That was a good time. Rocket League's a great game. Alright, let's turn some jank back on. Okay. We are getting somewhere. I don't know if that somewhere is good or bad, but we're definitely getting somewhere, and that is starting to cut into the body, which is maybe okay. But if you look here, we're starting to get like this big okay, we'll use my mask tool. We're starting to get like this big kind of S curve here. Look at that. So that's kind of what I was talking about before. So we use all these small kind of very clean curves. Obviously this one needs some work. To kind of bleed into this larger shape. Like that. So you can kind of see the line there. That's kind of the thought process there. Alright. Awesome. Well, hey, with that, I think I am going to work on this some more off of stream. And I need to finish editing and working on some episodes and some other stuff as well. But other than that, I might be on either tonight or possibly very late tomorrow night, but Thursday morning for sure. I don't have really a schedule for when I'm going to do these yet. It's still kind of a new thing, testing out the waters, trying to figure out how it's all gonna work. But yeah, I'll definitely post on Facebook, Twitter, whatever, if I'm gonna be streaming. And then of course, new videos are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All that's still the same. And then make sure you check out Gumroad, and you can download this model shortly for free, as well as any of the other stuff on there for free. Take it, learn from it, use it in your game, movie, I don't care. It's all yours. But if you do use it, just a little credit link maybe to my YouTube channel or anything like that. That's all I ask. So hey, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little stream here. Arashi, the only early bird up today with me so far. Thank you for joining us. And us, I mean me and my sleeping guest downstairs. Top secret. Other than that, I'll see you guys next time.